Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to the Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show. I'm Derek Asklar, and Mr. Craig Talley will be on the line here in a second, and we'll kind of be hosting the show tonight. Shoot, thank God for Craig, man. I was literally out there cooking a steak. It's probably on fire right now, but he goes, "Are we going to do a show tonight?" And I said, "Well, yeah. Wait a minute. Today's Saturday." I'm like, "Oh man, I totally had a blonde moment." So we are getting it up and running, and Craig will call in and kind of let him take over the show on his own there for a few minutes anyways, so I can see if I still have a barbecue left. And steak's probably like a hockey puck, but oh well. Got to do what you got to do. Totally. You ever have one of those days where it just kind of flies by, and I looked down at the clock when he called me. I'm like, oh my gosh. Really, in my head, it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're gonna pretty much going to do open lines tonight. I see Bill Marsh is on tonight already. And with the chat lines, if you want to be involved with chat, all you have to do is get onto Hardcore Metal Detecting through Spreaker.com and just click on the comment section, and you can jump right on there and join the conversations on chat, or you can call in live at 352-504-4170, and talk about pretty much whatever you want to as far as metal detecting, treasure hunting, bottle hunting, that kind of thing, gold prospecting. And we kind of just let the show follow the path it wants to follow. So, but Craig will be calling in here in just a couple minutes, and I think it was Jaron's already on tonight too. I did. Somebody had mentioned getting someone that really knows a lot about gold prospecting on the show. I think it was Jaron, and I'm actually trying to. I think I have two leads on a really good person for that. I need. Whoa. Well, sorry about that, guys. Kind of blew my eardrums out, too. Craig, you make it on?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, brother. I was telling him about the fiasco. Thank goodness for you. I thought it was like 5 o'clock, and Craig called me, and my steak's probably toast. But, Craig, this is open lines tonight, brother. I know you've been out hunting and horsing around and stuff like that. Why don't you go on with that and let me save my meal for tonight? I'll be right in about 5 minutes. All right?
All right.
All right, man. But
Hey, I been doing a lot of yard work because we've had a lot of wind and everything up here, and finally gotten enough good weather so we can get out and we actually did the grass. My buddy does the grass, and I do a lot of the cutting all the shrubs and everything. But I put out like 10 yard bags last week, and I got another 5 in the last 2 days, 5 or 6. And but anyway, when I'm out in the front, we got kind of a steep curb and grassy area down to the sidewalk, and I'm always finding weird stuff like little toys and I guess about 4 or 5 days ago, I found an iPod. It's one of the old ones, and it was just covered in mud, and washed it off and charged it up, and it had the old style plug, so it actually works, and I had about, I don't know, 5 songs on it. I don't know who owns it or anything, but and then today I was raking some leaves around the flower beds and stuff, and right along the street, and I looked down, there's a pair of reading glasses. And so I washed them off, and they actually I can actually use them. So, but it's there's a kind of a funny one on Stealth Diggers where they call it Surface Find Friday or something like that, and people showed stuff they find, just laying on the ground, and they go to like parking lots and stuff, and they're all looking. The whole group's like looking on the ground, trying to see if they can find surface finds while they're there, and it's pretty funny. They usually always find at least a couple coins, but it's amazing. You don't know where, how many coins are dropped. They were trying to figure out something like by how many coins people would drop in a parking lot every day. all over the whole country, how much would it add up to? And it makes you wonder how much, money. There's probably more money in the ground than there is circulation.
I'm back, Craig, so you can continue on. I just want to let you know I was back. I saved the steak, guys. It's safe. It's good. It's not. It's still medium. It's not medium well, thank goodness. So,
yeah.
I tell you, Craig, it's just been such a crazy week for me, and oh man, I tell you, I need to get my head straight here, boy. There's so much going on and trying to remember everything. And of course, I don't write down anything on a list anymore, it seems like. So you saved the show, Craig. You saved the show. Hey, that's only the second time in 3 years. That's not bad.
Yeah.
We do this every once in a while, guys. I'll either call Craig or he'll call me and say, are we going to do a show tonight? I think it only happened to Craig once.
I was all ready for the show, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my iPad, and I happen to look up, and I see it's like 7:53, and usually I call Derek at about 7:10 or 10 till 8. Yeah, and so I called. I kept dialing it out about 5 or 6 times, and it wouldn't. Because sometimes
yeah,
he's there, but it doesn't pick it up right away. But anyway, I thought, I better call him and see.
Oh, man, yeah.
He goes, hey, what's going on? I go, I thought we were doing the show.
Well, I was in there messing with metal detectors earlier and trying to get my some stuff moved around in there. And then I got interested in I was doing this little test with the Bliss tool. And, by then it's like, okay, I'll cook dinner and have some steak tonight. We don't get steak very often, so I figured it'd be nice to do it. And Pauline's on her way home, and so that's the way my afternoon went. I actually been running all day and down to Tampa, and had to go up to Ocala for a while. So yeah, it's just too many things in one day, but got to try to get them all done. But I'm planning on trying to do some detecting tomorrow, Craig. I found another spot, and the guy gave me permission to hunt it. He says that he has found some really old tractor parts and stuff like that, just weird stuff, like the old plow blades. He said there was one out in the field by an old oak tree, and he showed it to me. I think it's turning this like 1905 or so. It looks similar to the one I found up in Culpeper, a year or so ago. But I think it's the same company. So I don't know how many years they put those plows in. I said, there may have been something here, a barn anyways or something, and that's what he thinks too. So hopefully maybe get out there tomorrow for at least for an hour or so, and I can tell you guys how I do on Thursday night. Or if I find something great, I'll be putting it up on Facebook just because. But that's been getting nuts too with Facebook, Craig. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that. Pauline's phone was acting all weird today, and so was mine, and I don't know. It just, are they doing something? I mean, I haven't been keeping up with it.
I got spammed last week where this group, somebody called White Guitar, and I Googled it, and my brother called me and said, you got a virus on your computer. And I go, what? So when I Googled it, they said it wasn't a virus. It's just a phishing email thing. Mm-hmm. Where they take your contacts and send spam to all your contacts or something.
Is that what's going on with Facebook right now? I mean, I've been getting a lot of.
I don't know. I mean, look what they've been doing to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah. Didn't even know the extent of what they were doing, and so I haven't really been on Facebook much lately.
Right, me neither. I mean, I've been looking at it, but
anything. I've been posting to Blissful America, but that's about it.
Right.
But I've been doing Twitter, and I like Instagram. I've been doing a lot of that, and I don't know. It's just I
wasn't
need a
sure
break from Facebook. There's a lot of people wondering whether they, there's people starting to dump it.
Yeah.
The stock has gone in the trash, and it doesn't look like they're going to change because they're greedy for the money.
Well,
it's like, they've been trying to all along they were trying to, grow how many people.
Right, right.
And there's only so many people in the world. China's kind of basically cut them out. And so, they gone into the advertising. Google and Facebook have gone into the advertising where they're killing everybody else. They dominate, like 90% of the advertising money's going to them.
Yeah.
And they got all kinds of deals, and so that they're using everybody's information. That's Google and Facebook both. So there's got to be. The trouble is people in Congress and all this stuff, they don't know what the hell's going on the computers and stuff, or what's really going on behind the scenes. They're all worried about their politics and stuff, but
politics and profit. Politics and profit.
I've been studying this stuff for 10 years since I got first got the computer and decided to get into it, and I look at all these trends and stuff that go on, and it's a constant war, trying to beat the system, basically.
Right. My biggest concern with the whole thing is that we have a lot of friends out there, and we all talk to each other through Facebook and stuff like that.
It's killing me because I'm in a kind of a. I just decided I'm not going to dump it, but
just be selective.
I'm just going to slack off for a while and just not,
Well, you're not the only one. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are doing this. I'm kind of doing the same thing because what I'm getting is these friend request things, and I know a lot of them. I can tell just with the look at it's the girls or it's some kind of scam or whatever. But the ones that concern me is like when I click on. Usually, what I do is if I see a friend request, it's been suggested by one of you guys, and I don't know if it is legitimate. You know what I mean? So I click over to it, and then I'll see, if I see Craig or Bill Mars or whoever in the friends column, people that I know, then I'm more apt to hit accept because I've clicked on some that they said they have 600 friends. And I'm not seeing one that I recognize out of, and I know quite a few people, in the hobby itself, and I'm not seeing that, or they're foreign names, which I wouldn't, as readily know. I mean, I do have a lot of, subscribers from, like, say, South America and Poland, Russia, all those countries, UK, and so I'm still trying to be a little bit selective. If I don't see like photos or something referring to metal detecting, I just ignore. I don't know what else to do right now because what I don't want to happen is, well, like what happened with you, Craig. They try to steal your contacts or use your contacts to get more people on their column, so to speak. It's almost like it's contact mining is what it is. They're just trying to get just as many people as they can is what I believe is going on. So they already have them in their contact list. So when if it does change, you probably won't be able to do that anymore. Not friend requests like they're doing. So they're trying to do this ahead of time. It's what I'm gathering is this happening way too much. And
what upsets me is how they did it through Facebook. It looked like it. I did a little more research, Googling it, and they, with me, it looked like a legitimate Facebook page and everything.
Right, right.
And that's what they said, in the scam thing that, it's called White Guitar. I don't know.
I've heard that.
What it is.
Yeah, I've heard of that before, but I just didn't know it was that.
There was a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah.
On this thread that I saw, but
I just wish they'd catch these idiots sometimes.
I never used to get this, but started about a year ago. I started getting these calls where you get a half a ring or a ring and it hangs up.
Oh, I'm getting those all the time now. It's ringing once. I gotta pick it up. It's gone. It's done. Yeah, the conversation's over.
Well, what you do is you Google the number, and it's usually some kind of scam or some kind of telemarketing or, that way when you call back, it's not considered them calling you, spamming
Right.
you.
Right. Okay,
So,
I get it.
If it only rings once, I'm not calling, I don't call back or whatever.
Yeah, I block so
If
many that.
if the call dropped, I figure if the person dropped the call, they'll call back.
Right.
It's important.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the last thing we
So,
want to do is if it ever happens where you try to contact us and we don't answer the phone, or please don't think we're ignoring you or anything, or we don't answer a Facebook message real fast. We're obviously, if it's like Bill or Bill Marsh or something, I'm gonna know because I'm gonna see it on there. But if it's one of these hinky things where I think it's hinky, I'm not gonna do anything right then and there. And because I want to make sure that I'm not inviting moron spammers into our realm. They're out there, we know that, but trying to limit our contact list from being used like that. Craig, I don't even know if I got like 3,500 on my personal Facebook page, and I don't know, probably I haven't checked it lately, probably about 2,000 or something like that on the hardcore metal detecting. I'm not sure how much you have on Bliss Tool America, but those contacts, I just don't want people even bothered.
On there.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't want people bothered, so we're very cautious, or as cautious as we can be. That's even the same with the forum and the, whatever, your information. We don't share that at all.
Yeah, the page seems to be a little bit more protected, where they don't kind of allow that because, you're kind of, in business. You don't want somebody else,
right,
advertising on your page,
Yeah.
So,
well,
it's stupid.
It's frustrating when we have to, everybody's having to do this. And I've talked to 5 or 6 guys that just totally off Facebook altogether. And it's sad because now I got to call them or text them or, and I don't want to see all this good information that we all have that we share amongst ourselves being, them essentially making it so that we don't have an outlet to kind of communicate that way. I mean, I consider the show, and I actually had an email from a gentleman that was listening to the show, and he liked the show and everything, and I told him, I said, we have a great time doing it, and it's almost like I get to talk to my friends twice a week. I mean, how good is that? Craig and all you guys on here, we're on here twice a week and everything else, and I like it. I don't know, I like being able to communicate with like-minded people and stuff like that, and we let of course, the calls, people calling in and stuff, but I guess he downloads the show and listens to it on the way to work, and he enjoys it. Doesn't have to listen to commercials and stuff like that. We were just talking about it the last show, and he does that probably with a lot of the metal detecting shows because he's into that. So it was nice to hear. So, but yeah, we don't want to get everybody into that realm of having to deal with the same thing Craig did, because I heard that, I'm like, what? How did you get hacked? I wasn't sure either. Excuse me, but I knew it wouldn't be a virus. Usually these Macs are real good about knocking out, protecting us from stuff like that.
It was on my iPad.
Oh, okay. I thought
I did it through an email, and I clicked the site, and this drop down kept dropping down, and I kept trying to scroll under it.
Right, it wouldn't let you.
And it would pop back up, then it would pop back down. And I'd never seen this before. And I went to touch the screen at the bottom, and the thing went down just as I did, and I tapped it accidentally. Well, I mean, it must have been on purpose the way they did it.
Right.
And it went to this site, and then it was a Facebook site. And so, I thought that's kind of odd. And then, I didn't think about it. And, then about 4 days later, my brother emails me saying, you got hacked or
whatever,
a virus or something. So, I was like, well, I haven't had any problems. I haven't seen anything, any unusual activity or anything, still haven't. But,
Well, I think one of the
call
things
where
we need to do, where if you guys or any of us, especially if I do, if I get an email from somebody or weird way of people contacting, it doesn't look right, even though it may say Craig Talley on it, but it's something out of context, or it's I know the way you talk on messages, Craig. I'll call Craig and say, "Hey, is this from you?" or whatever. We need to do that. We need to protect ourselves a little bit because they'll use our names. Oh, Craig, you had it happen 2 years ago, wasn't it, with a friend of yours, another tennis player or something like that, and he's wanting you to, I don't know, give him or take some money or make some money somehow, like $200,000 or something. It turned out to be they hacked his Facebook page. And
oh yeah, no, that was and this was I get this thing, and the guy was actually owned a tennis company, he
right.
software company. The guy's well to do, and I get this message, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, but he's a really good tennis player, and we would hit at the camp a lot,
Right.
and so he's probably in his 70s now.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he gets this. I get this message, and he goes, "Man, I just got $90,000 through this Facebook, UN Facebook thing where they're giving out money to people just to help people out.
Yeah.
And go to this site and see if you qualify." So I was like, this is weird, and because I kept thinking, why would it, it just doesn't sound right.
Right.
It couldn't be. And so I started trying to find out, and so I went ahead and went on the site, and so they say, oh, we found out that you qualify for $110,000. And I said, and they said, you can have it in cash or you can have it in a check. I was like, cash?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So anyway, so I said, so is that all there? Oh, no, you have to pay $1,000, for all the transfers and all the truck shipping it over to you and all this stuff. And, and I'm like, was this, I've never heard of anything like this.
Right.
So anyway, I go over and I'm looking, and I notice when I go over to my friend's page, and I notice it's not the same picture on the avatar, and so I'm like, wait a minute, somebody's cloned him. Is what happened.
Oh, that's right. He got cloned. Yeah, because you said he had like 10 friends or something like that. And you knew he had more than that or something on that page.
So then I go over to the other guy's page, and there's a link there, and I go to this site that is this chair. It's this like a lottery or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just I left a message that where I just basically cussed the guy out.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the guy goes something about, and then he sends you a message back and says, I hope your mother goes to jail in Jesus' name.
What?
Something like that.
He skipped his meds that day is what it was.
Well, I started thinking, who would talk like,
Yeah.
I think it was some kind of African.
Probably,
yeah. Because that's kind of the way they talk,
right, yeah.
Years ago, Yahoo I used to get these scams through Yahoo all the time,
Right.
Inheritance, and I'll give you, $1 million if you help me, secure the rest of it, and all.
I'm a prince
stuff.
of some country, and I have to get my money into the U.S. And it sounds funny. This stuff goes on a lot. Fortunately, I haven't had to deal with that part of it. I know my parents had, these false calls saying their grandson's in prison and in Mexico, and he's gonna be sent to a Mexican prison, but we need you to post bail so we can get him back into the United States. All this kind of crazy stuff, and of course, they didn't fall for that. They knew better. They just talked to him. knew he was nowhere near Mexico. He was up in Indiana at the time. So yeah, we get the, you got to believe me, if somebody's wanting you or wanting money or like the IRS or anything, they're not going to make a phone call to you. They're not going to send a
No,
Facebook message.
They're going to official letter to you.
Yeah, officials, or they're going to come to your house and take everything. They're not going to play around with a stupid email or something. So, don't let that fool you. And you can always check, make sure you copy the IP address and all that stuff. And that way, if it is something major, at least you have something to fall back on. But, I've had people, hit my PayPal account somehow or get my number. I had to get a new PayPal card a couple times. But PayPal's always been real good about it. I call them, hey, I didn't make this purchase. I don't even know what this stuff is. And it's a software program for a PC. And I said, well, I'm running Mac. I wouldn't need it. And, they gave me my money back right away. They put it back on my, whatever in my PayPal account. And then they try for 30 days to try to get a hold of whoever this person is to see if it's valid or not. And most of the time, if it's not, they won't ever contact. But, I've never had to go without my money except for one day, which is good. I'm glad that PayPal does that. And that may be why they're getting away from eBay and all that, too. I mean, a lot of the stuff...
eBay's dropping them.
Oh, eBay's dropping them, really? Okay. Well, they're probably going to start up their own deals, what they're going to do.
And then they're probably going to cut, they want to get more of the percentage and
right.
Don't have to pay PayPal or something.
I didn't buy anything from eBay in the last, this purchase I made. I bought some accessories, stuff. I bought them all from Amazon. I was supposed to have my drone and stuff yesterday. I bought that through, I'm not advertising for them or nothing, but I bought it through Best Buy. But they messed up or somebody messed up and they said, well, it was supposed to be here on Friday, but it's not going to be here until the 25th because I guess, I don't know, they didn't have it in stock. They thought they did, whatever stuff I wanted. So I got to wait until the 25th for delivery now, but that's the only problem I've ever had out of Amazon.
Yeah, I got mine through Best Buy, and
right.
I got stock in Best Buy. It's a good company, and you go in, and it's like Apple. They treat you like gold in there. You don't go very long before somebody comes up and asks you if you need help.
Oh no, my son-in-law works for them up in Ruston. He works for Best Buy. He's moved up a lot, man. He started out as just a salesman about 2 years ago, and now he's really moving up higher up in the company, big time. And I don't know where that's going to be leading here in the near future, but I know that the kid's talented. He knows computers and coding and all that stuff. So he's going places, but they've always treated him right. They paid for his education, the additional education and everything. Pretty stand-up company. I mean, I can't say anything really bad about him. Never had really a problem. But apparently something happened with the shipping. That's all. But I have it on the 25th because I was wanting to talk about it a little tonight. But I really haven't had time. I wouldn't have had time anyways to mess with it. I mean, I literally was gone from the house right at 17 hours yesterday. I never even, had to do a bunch of running around and show another show I had to do, and it just got crazy. So I wouldn't have had time to mess with it anyways. I just want to get that drone just to mess, I wanted to fly it around this weekend, go out to the middle of a field somewhere and just try to get my bearings with it. I think it's going to be pretty good, Craig. I mean, I've been watching a lot of videos and stuff. You get about 1 out of every 10 that's real good. You know what I mean? As far as informative, not giving the same information and everything. But yeah, that should do pretty good, I think. If you hear a blood curdling scream, that's me crashing a drone and breaking it. You'll hear it all the way up into Ohio, Bill. So be listening. It freaks me out flying those around.
I found a bunch of YouTube channels on Instagram that were drone people, and I started, following them, and they're following me back, looking at all my stuff, and I did the same thing with tennis. Now I got all these, this one tennis pro from woman from Germany that was high ranked. She's now following me.
That's
because
cool.
I like to watch tennis, and I don't want to pay. The only way I can, watch it now is on YouTube, basically,
Right, right.
and you can't watch the whole match because it's copyrighted.
Yeah.
ESP, you have to have an ESPN thing in order to watch it, but I'm not doing it. It's just too much. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I haven't had one in 3 years, but anyway, they got those YouTube channels, and all they play the matches, but all you see is the point. You don't see any changeovers or in between points standing around.
Right.
It's just like bang, and the points. As soon as point's over, the guy serves again.
Good.
So the match only takes about maybe 15 or 20 minutes watching every single point.
There you go.
And it would normally be 2 or 3 hours. So
right.
I like it better.
Well, I mean, you get tired of. I mean, I realize that they got to pay for the, the broadcast time and everything else, but too, they really, if you watch a movie or a series like on Netflix or something from the 80s, and you look at the length of the show, it's like, I don't know, 51 minutes or 49 minutes or something out of the hour. And now you look at it, I think it's probably more like 35 minutes is actual show. The rest is all commercials. It seems to me it's crazy.
Well, look on Netflix on a regular TV show,
mm-hmm.
and it'll be like 43, 46 minutes.
Right.
And my friend Mike was asking me, man, these are only like 43, 46 minutes. I said, yeah, that's because there's no commercial.
Right.
And he goes, oh, my God, it's that much? I said, yeah, it's like, almost, a quarter of the time you're watching the thing, you're watching commercials.
Right, right.
So that's the good thing about Netflix. You don't watch any commercials.
Well, I'm looking at right now NYPD Blue. That's what this series I've been watching. I always liked it, but it was put out in '94, or airtime was in 1994, and it was 48 minutes. The show was actually 48 minutes long, so you had 12 minutes of commercials throughout the whole thing. I don't know what it is now, but it's so much nicer to watch a series on here because you don't have, other than the intros for it, you really don't have any, you can watch 2 shows, 3 shows, whatever, and you kind of get into this binge watching. My mom called me the other day. She goes, I just binge watched for the first time. She was watching Lost, on Netflix. I think it's Netflix or Hulu has it on right now, the series.
Oh, God, that's one it'd take a couple of days of binge watching.
Oh, my God, about a week, man. That thing is so many twisted turns. Every time you think you got to figure it out, it would switch up again. But, yeah, I like a lot of these older shows. I wish they'd put the old. Well, I've seen Adam 12 on here once, but I wish they'd put, like, Barney Miller and stuff. I don't know if you remember those or not, Craig. I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch that, too, like these cop shows and stuff. But, yeah, they're definitely, times have changed a lot. They
well, now all the tech giants are becoming getting their own movies. Apple's bought out a movie thing. They haven't done anything yet, but
the original, yeah.
They're they're putting I think it's close to $250 million into this thing.
Yeah, it's crazy money.
Or maybe it's maybe it's over $1 billion. No, it's over $1 billion. I think it's $1 or $2 billion into this thing. It's crazy. And then Google's going to do theirs. I think even Microsoft, Verizon, AT&T, all these people are going to stream. Disney and ESPN. ESPN has some kind of skinny sport package for $4.95 a month. People don't think it's got enough on it to really.
That's the thing. You get any information. I mean, if they're giving out, whatever, if it's cartoons and stuff, that's one thing. Or sports channels or sports, they got to have enough information or enough content to warrant spending the money every month. That's where I see the next problem is going to be. They're wanting, everybody. When you think about it, like we get Netflix and Hulu. That's very much what we watch when we do have time to sit down and watch a show. But you're paying. I think I pay $8.95 a month for Netflix, and I think I went to $11, whatever, for Hulu only because I didn't want commercials. So I paid for not watching commercials, but you get enough of these things. They keep on charging it. Oh, it's only $4 a month. But when you have 25 channels at, $4 a month, you're paying as much for cable, like you would regular cable anyway. I think our cable bill runs like $111 a month.
Well,
and
like ESPN, they got different sports on it, that you can watch. I don't know how many channels within the channel. I guess it depends on the season, but
right.
If I just want to watch tennis, I don't want to pay, like get a subscription for a whole year or anything, or I don't know. I just want to do it, basically in January, May, June, July, and September. When the big tournament, the big Grand Slams come up, but what is it? Disney's going to have also. They're no longer going to give out their best content to Netflix or anybody else.
Right.
And they've got a movie thing with all the Marvel stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking about dumping Netflix. I don't even, I watched one last night called Titan, and it's kind of weird.
I've literally not really watched Netflix other than, this is the NYPD Blues on.
We kind of talked about this. It sounded like almost all B movies, and,
right.
Up until last year, I was watching Person of Interest, all these TV shows. And,
right.
They had Flash and Green Lantern. Green Arrow, and
yep.
They had some really cool shows. I really like them, but all of a sudden that's not going to be. You're going to have to go on to Disney to watch all this stuff.
Yeah,
now.
I won't be going there.
But like you say, how many of these streaming services can you afford? All of a sudden, you're paying more than you did for cable TV.
Right. And how much time do you really have to watch them, though? Because. I don't know. I'm assuming that a lot of you guys are just like us, running around like crazy.
We were talking about it, because I'm with Bliss to America. I can join all these tech sites that have all these newsletters, and they just think I own a business, so they, I get privy to all this information, and they have all these. Statistics on cable TV and cutting cords and how many people are streaming and what people are doing. They don't really know what's going to happen yet. Nobody does until this thing, until they roll this thing out on how many people are going to, opt in.
Right.
And it's going to be, there's so many people, so many companies doing their own streaming thing. It's going to be competition, How's that going to play out? Content wins in the end.
Right, exactly.
The better content and the more you got of it, that's the big thing, And it looks like, how are you going to compete against Google and Apple and some of these other companies, that have the billions to spend, instead of,
And it all comes down
hundreds
to
of millions,
Yeah.
But
money's important, but still.
I just predict. From what I've seen on Human Greed.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah,
they're going to ruin streaming just like they did cable TV. It's probably what's going to try, happen.
It's ridiculous
what if it comes down to what all these companies bundle the streaming into one package, just like it is on cable TV?
Yep.
Where you can't break it unless you buy it all.
I'll be watching metal detecting videos 24 hours a day. I can tell you that right now. If that ever happens, I'll just put it on
I'm
YouTube
getting this
or
pop-up
whatever.
Stuff when I watch YouTube, where they went, "Hey, would you like to try YouTube TV for a month?" I go, "Nope."
I can punch up stuff just like I want right now.
It costs money, and I'm not paying money.
Well, this all comes around to.
They owe me $52. They owe me $54. They won't pay me
it. Yeah.
Because I didn't get to the. You have to win. You
have to have 1,000 subscribers or something.
I made $252 or $254 over the years.
Yeah.
But I got the 200, but they wouldn't pay me the last bit because I didn't reached the $100 thing.
Right.
So I'm sitting there going, that's cheating,
Yeah.
I did earn that money, and now you changed the rules in the middle of the thing, and I wonder how many billions that comes out to that they don't have to pay.
Right. They made money on doing that. Yeah. It's frustrating. I look, how greedy can you be? I mean, everybody, you want to make money, but
greed knows no bounds,
you got to do it with a bit of credibility,
like
a bit
of
something.
The more money these people make, the greedier they get.
Yeah. I used to be like that, years ago. It was all about, how much, when I was driving truck, I needed, which company I'm going to work for. I mean, are you going to give me a brand new truck? Are you going to pay me more than what you're paying these other guys? Are you going to get better insurance? Are you going to, it was all about it. It just come down to, I mean, how many miles can I run? If I do it this way or that way, can I run more, make more money? I got out of that about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. It just became, it wasn't worth the stress level. I'd rather make an honest dollar than to have to sit there and try to finagle, some shady way of making money. I mean, I don't know. I got a conscience, I guess. Some of these companies, man, I don't know. It blows my mind how they sleep at night. Some of them, it's at least that's the way it seems to me. I mean, I couldn't rip people off like that, because when you think about it, Craig, yeah, they only owe you $50, but if there's 300,000 or 400,000 people out there that they owe $50 to, that's a lot of money. And they should have made that right with you and say, hey, look, we're not going to do, you don't have enough subscribers. We're settling up with you. That's what they should have done. And that would have been fair. That would have been, to me, that had been the right thing to do. Just not say, okay, you're done. You don't have enough subscribers, or you didn't meet the qualifications. So you're out of luck, dude. We're taking your money. That's what it's almost like, Craig. I mean, it's almost like they're stealing from you. And if they did it to you, they're doing it to a lot of other people out there. I know, some of these people, and I can see why they get so upset, because some of these people put a lot of time and effort into what they do on YouTube. I mean, and they monetize, and to have, like almost like a real job, or it is a real job. I'm not going to mention names, but there's people out there that have literally, this is what they do for a living. They make their videos, they do instructional videos, whatever, and they have a following, and they make good enough money that they don't have to work their regular job that they were working. But this, time wise, they're putting probably even more hours into what they're doing to make money. So I don't know. This whole thing is just, it's way out of control. I think it's just all up in the air right now. They're still trying to cover their butts, and people are still trying to figure out what's going on. I don't think the higher ups know what's going on at all. I think this is all, like the owner of Facebook or whatever. I'm sure he knows something's up, and I don't think he knows the details of anything. It's plausible deniability. That's just what it comes down to. If he doesn't know about it, how could he change it, right? So I think we're going to hear a lot more about that kind of thing too. But getting back onto metal detecting, because we kind of went on a rampage with that, but it's affecting everybody right now. So I guess it's good content. I did get a call from Tim, Craig, the guy up in Maine, about the V6. I don't know if I mentioned it to you or not earlier. I think he called you about beach settings or something like that. Or you'd mentioned something like that. But at any rate, he gave me a call today, and it just, his backyard is, he says, yeah, there's all kinds of, it's just the metal detector's going off, and I don't know what's going on. And I said, well, just swing the coil, let me hear, over the phone. And he's, I said, okay, wait a minute here, let's make some adjustments. So I give him, these adjustments. He goes, well, that's a lot better. I said, Tim, that noise you're hearing is EMI, dude. You got EMI like crazy. He goes, I was wondering, because like I walk out the door with my metal detector and I'd set it up, and it was making this constant beep, 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 beep sound. I couldn't get it to stop or nothing. But then I thought about it. I walked about 15 feet away from the house, and then it got a lot better, but it still wasn't right. And he just had his settings a little bit messed up. And he never called me back, so I guess he got good settings, because I just sat there and listened to the detector because he was freaking out, thinking, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm just digging big iron." Well, it turns out he has a ton of big iron in his yard. I said, "You got to watch Craig Talley's videos. Craig deals with that. There's all kinds of targets. You got to separate them out. You got to unmask them." And this guy, this is the first metal detector he's ever even put his hands on, and he bought one from us, and he talked to me and I tried, I literally tried to tell him, well, I can work you through this detector. That's not a problem. I said, but are you sure you want to make an investment like this with, because you don't know what you're wanting, if you're going to want to go on with the hobby and stuff like that. He goes, no, I'm in. I like this detector. I like what I saw. Okay, fine. I'll help you out. I have, and Craig has, but he's actually hunting a beach up there somewhere in Maine. And he goes, man, I keep on digging aluminum cans and bottle tops and, lead sinkers, but I'm not finding any coins or nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Craig is a perfect example of a junky beach. There's nothing, there's stuff there, but it's buried under aluminum cans, and you're not going to be able to, you may be able to discriminate out the aluminum, but you're going to knock out gold. You're going to knock out a lot of stuff. But if your coins are underneath your aluminum cans, which they probably are, in that area, that's probably why he's not finding anything. So I kind of gave him some really beefed up beach settings so that, at least he'll be able to hit stuff like, 7-8 inches down into the wet sand. But if you have a beach like that, he goes, well, I just don't understand these lead sinkers. I said, dude, that's what you want. Hey, what do you mean? I'm like, if you're finding lead sinkers, that's where gold lies too. You found a cut. And he goes, yeah, it's only like maybe 5 foot wide, and it seems to run the length of the beach. I said, man, start digging, start getting those signals, because if there was anything lost and it got washed in or whatever, it's going to be in that trough right there, that cut. Oh, I never thought about that. I said, yeah, it's just, he's learning as he goes. It's kind of neat in a way, Craig. It's nice to, to hear his expression of what he's hearing out of the metal detector or how he's swinging the metal detector, and then being able to help him and get him on the right path. And he just kind of, when he started doing the cellar hole, his cellar at his house, and he found all that stuff, he was hooked right there. But he didn't understand that those settings aren't going to work outside as well as they do inside. You got to make some adjustments for the ground and soil moisture and this and that and the other thing. But he's pretty happy yet. And now he goes, oh, this thing's finally calm again. He just had he was actually running too high of a threshold. And he was trying to run, I think he was only at 1.5 gain, but he was trying to do an automatic ground balance, running an automatic ground balance. And I got him over to the ferrite and everything, ferrite ground balance. And I guess it just, I could hear it over the phone. It quieted it right down. And he goes, wow, this is the way it's supposed to be, isn't it? And I said, yeah, nice and quiet. When you go over something, you'll hear it. And it kind of goes along with most detectors. Sometimes you've got to use the discrimination in order to be able to hunt. Or you might have to use the frequency offsets and stuff like that to be able to get, through that EMI. It's becoming more of a problem, especially in towns and stuff with all the Wi-Fi signals and everything else. So, it was nice to be able to help them through that. And I actually only spent about 15 minutes on the phone with him. And he said, I'll call you back if I have any problems. Well, he didn't have any problems because he never called me back. So we'll see how he does here. He's supposed to be heading to the beach again, I guess, pretty soon. So see how he does with it. But I got him straightened out anyways. That big iron can mess with you pretty bad. I mean, he's digging up, like axe heads and this and that and the other thing. And kind of like your yard, Craig, where, you got a ton of iron in there, but you got to get in between it and get the good, the goodies between the iron targets. So him being new, that's just where he's at right now. He's figuring it out, but he has been watching a lot of the videos too. So I told him, I said, you may not learn everything you need to know about metal detecting off of videos, but it'll give you a good starting point, or at least a part to investigate more or try things with your detector to see if you can, make your hunting style better or whatever your settings better. And I think he gets it now. I mean, a lot of us take it for granted because we've been doing it for so many years that it's just second nature, and having somebody that's brand new. And I'm actually pretty happy about it. I've actually gotten several messages from people that are thinking about getting in the metal detecting hobby. and they're asking, just the same, I guess the same kind of questions we did when we first got started, but we didn't have an outlet. Well, especially you, Craig, you didn't have the internet to turn to or anything like that. It really wasn't around. So you did magazines or other hunters, getting information from them in order to make,
Oh yeah.
so we're pretty fortunate nowadays. We can actually communicate between us. If I ever have a problem on, I buy, brand A metal detector, I can always call somebody that I know that has one, and they'll shoot me, settings or whatever where I should be at least to start off with it, and gives me a starting point. And didn't have that years ago. Not really, anyways. You had to really actually read the manuals and stuff like that. So it's part of the fun of it, really. I think. I mean, yeah, you want to turn on and go, but turn on and go isn't necessarily all that good. It's going to get you by. You'll figure it out real soon that you got to start making adjustments to sensitivity and stuff like that to get better performance out of your detector. And that just goes along with all of them, really. The only one I can see that there's really no, like if they had a Lobo or something like that, I mean, there's only, 2 knobs on that or 3 knobs on that. So, I mean, you really don't have a lot of adjustment room, but the way that, maybe you can raise the coil off the ground a little higher and or whatever to make differences of some kind in the performance of it. But you're kind of limited with those. In today's machines, even, across the board, you have a lot more adjustment menus and stuff like that where you can adjust the settings to be able to work the machine in pretty harsh environments. Either they're going to work or they're not. It's kind of like salt water, wet salt sand. I mean, there's not very many VLFs that can handle that properly. They're getting better. I mean, the Equinox seems to be, doing pretty good. And then you have the Beach Hunter ID from White's that's been out for a while now. It does pretty good. But, the majority like AT Pros and stuff like that, I don't know if they're getting any kind of depth or not. I mean, wet salt sand's a harsh environment for most VLFs. So a lot of the guys are, like the Excalibur and stuff has been, well, Mike explained it. Mike Miller explained that to me on the Excalibur 2s. They've made it so that it could really knock out the salt a lot, but you'll give up gold, at even marginal depth from what I was told and what I saw. A couple of the guys using Excaliburs, they couldn't hit the targets that we had buried at all. I mean, they could hit the silver ones and you could hear a little bit, but it's just the limitations of the programming. You're only going to be able to get so deep on the wet salt sand, unless you're using pulse. And I've never really even used a pulse on a beach. I mean, I guess it'd be the same way it would be in mineralized ground or whatever, wouldn't it, Craig? The performance wise? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about it to really give a good explanation on that. I really honestly probably need to buy a pulse machine just to, learn that and get better familiar with it. I guess, it'd be a good addition to our show. I know we have several guys on here and ladies that use, the GPXs and the White's TDIs. I know couple Garrett Infiniums. Well, there's plenty of pulse machines out there, but they're a little bit more, they're out of my wheelhouse on that aspect of it.
What was that other beach hunter that Dave McMahon used? Was it GT?
Sovereign GT.
Yeah, Sovereign.
Yeah, that was Sovereign. He loved it.
Supposedly that one picked up gold good.
Yeah.
But
it did. It would pick it up. It's something with the Excalibur. I mean, I saw it firsthand, and maybe it was the way the guy had it adjusted. I'm not knocking on the machine at all, because that's a go-to underwater, in the water machine. I mean, there's not very many out there that can do better than it, as far as I know.
It's not really submersible, though. It's not a submersible machine. You can stick the coil in the water, but
the Sovereign, the Sovereign GT is not an actual water machine. The Excalibur is, but Dave loved the machine, but he knew it. I mean, it's one of those things where he knew that machine backwards and forwards, and he knew what it would do and what the corks were with it. I mean, it'd be on the same wave of you. I guess I'm just going to use it as an example, like an Ace 350 or AT Pro, and then go into a Deus or a CTX 3030 or whatever. There's quite a bit of a difference in those detectors. You're going to be able to do a lot more with a CTX or a Deus than you would be an AT Pro, but it doesn't mean the AT Pro is bad. I mean, that thing, it's for what it is. It's a good machine. It's been around for years, and a lot of people own them. Well, a lot of guys on here even own them. They were just talking about it somewhere on here on the chat. But it's very versatile. You can buy different size coils for it. You can, move your settings around depending on your environment. But it's was never really intended to be saltwater beach machine, I don't think. I mean, because it's, I don't know, it's just not, most of them aren't stable enough. Or maybe I'm just not setting it up right. That could be me too. That's not my go-to machine or anything like that. But, it just takes a little patience. Once you get it figured out, it's no big deal. You can actually make better adjustments on it and stuff to be able to, to get it to work the way you want it to. Need a little bit of patience. And ask people. I mean, a lot of these guys on here, I mean, they got, Brandon and Bill and, Jaron and all these guys on here. If you get on chat, if you don't want to call in or something like that, these guys will answer your questions about those machines. So, they as a matter of fact, Brandon's really good with the AT Pro. I think that's what he's using right now. Maybe using, but didn't he get a new one, Craig? I thought he said he got a new one.
No, I think he's still on the AT Pro.
How was it? Oh, that's right. No, we were talking about drones. We get switching so many topics, and on these shows I lose track of sometimes. Excuse me. Sorry.
I think he's got a Phantom 3.
That's right. Phantom 3 or Phantom 2, one of the two. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the drone. I just want to get out there and see the contour of the land from up in the air. I just think there's a lot to be said for that. Anyways, I think Brandon touched on it a little bit too when he called in. You don't have to walk a mile into the woods now. You can walk, get in there and get above it and fly over there to see if there's anything over there, if you can get through the trees. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're just trying to get a few things going here, Craig and I, and hardcore metal detecting everything. We got some projects that we're in the middle of, and we're hoping to get them done. This is mostly for you guys and us both. So we're trying to get that stuff finished up. It's still just a little ways off, not real bad. It's just really time consuming and a lot of coding and stuff like that. It has to be done. So hopefully that helps with a lot of my hope is it's going to help with a lot with information about, the hobbies, metal detecting hobby and others too. So we're just trying to get our feet planted good before we, get this thing all going, huh, Craig?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of time, a lot of energy on that. It's just, anytime you try to do something new, it's like that. So, we have that going on, and there's a couple other things I got going on too. So, and it's funny how that works, Craig, kind of for everybody. Really just sharing information and stuff, but, just trying to get a time frame where I can actually, I'd love to be able to tell everybody, oh, next week we'll release what we're talking about, but we can't. It won't be done by next week. Maybe the week after. You never know. So, but we keep on progressing. Everybody tries new stuff. I mean, that's one thing about metal detecting. You try new stuff, and it leads you into other stuff. And if you can help each other out, great. And that's the fun of it. But the president just walked in, Craig. The president huh? Yeah, she's the president of the VFW auxiliary. They vote.
Hey, darling.
Hey.
She's coming in the house. I was picking on her so bad. On Thursday night they had their election.
Hey, President Pauline.
She's laughing. Well, they nominate you for this, so she, it's actually kind of cool. They had their election on Thursday, and a couple of the ladies, nominated her for it, and actually nobody ran against her. My wife is really good at organizing and very good at making things happen. So that's in her wheelhouse. They didn't even discuss it. They just voted on it right there. So it's kind of cool. I'm proud of her. But she bleeds red, white, and blue anyways, Craig. She's all about the, Pause for Patriots and, all the stuff with the National Cemetery down there, anything where we're involved with down there. And then the schools, Pauline actually got it sounds silly, but it's a coloring contest. And in years past, we've had maybe, 25 or 30 of the kids would, do the coloring contest or whatever. And that was it. And they thought that was pretty good. And Pauline went in front of the administration, I'm just going to call it the school administration. That's the way you have to do it now. And they have to know all the information and go through it and everything. Well, she took the time to do that and talk to who she had to. And I don't even know. They had a stack that looked about 6 inches thick of not only the coloring contest part of it, about, and it was just basic, like the American flag, the Statue of Liberty, colored the way you want. But the teachers did it as a project in their classrooms, which was really cool. And they actually wrote an essay on the back why they love America, why they, love our freedoms. It's just kind of got the kids involved more. And we're talking, like fifth graders, sixth graders, that kind of thing. And I think they, like I said, it was 6 inches thick, the pile of, the colored sheets and the essays and everything like that. And they actually give them scholarships, when they, or whatever, we have a bunch of prizes for them and stuff, but they actually enjoyed it. They could tell by what they wrote. It wasn't just like a 2-sentence thing and they were done with the essay. They filled up the whole back side of the page with what they thought and, how much they, love America and they love our servicemen and women and what they're doing. So it was just nice to see, but she got them really involved in that this year. And, we're hoping that continues on too. So we try to do as much good as possible. I do a lot of stuff at for the veterans over at the retirement homes and stuff around Bushnell, and you just try to do what you can, and that's what we're there for as auxiliary members. So kind of got way off on the topic, but I had to brag about my wife a little bit. She does a good job. So yeah. She. I'm sorry. But with Tim, being new to the hobby and everything, he's actually progressing pretty good, Craig. He knew enough to what to adjust, but just not how to adjust it, if that makes sense. He didn't know how far to go with it.
Yeah, when I talked to him, I had the feeling that he needed to charge the battery up because he couldn't even get 4 inches on a dime.
Yeah.
Even with the settings I gave him, and the machine was real noisy, and I said, I think you just need to charge it up, and then, and I said, I don't know that much about the beach settings, and Derek's an expert on that, as far as that goes.
Yeah,
I've never really done wet sand at all on any detector, so I don't, I'm not the one to talk to.
Yeah, he wasn't doing anything really wrong, and you gave him good settings. His major problem was the EMI. I mean, I could hear it in the background without him even telling me he had the machine on. I could hear it in the background. And it was like that was the other thing too, Craig. He didn't have his coil cable. Anytime you guys use metal detectors, you don't need to tighten them down onto wrap them on the shaft really, really, really tight. It's just make sure they're touching and within reason. You don't want to stretch a coil cable out, but his coil cable was literally loose, Craig. Like you could grab it and move it up and down 3 or 4 inches on the shaft. Well, that's way too much. You got to remember that those coil cables have, I told them they have copper in them. It's sending a signal through there. When that thing is flopping in the wind, that metal detector is going to go off because it's detecting the copper in the in itself. So once he did that, he goes, oh wow, you're right. I'm not. He was touching the coil cable on purpose, like tapping on it barely at the like the mid shaft on the detector, and he goes, man, that thing's making a lot of noise. I said, how much slack you getting? And he goes, well, I guess kind of a lot. I said, man, shoot, bring that thing up there to about the first knuckle, put the little Velcro thing on there, and then wrap it gently around all the way up to make sure it's not loose and flopping around. And he goes, oh, that really does a good job. I'm like, yeah, it's just simple things. Sometimes it's a simple answer, But that between that and the EMI, that's where his problem lies.
Well, he's pretty much a newbie, so
Yeah.
all this is new.
But yeah, but he's not giving up on it either. He goes, I like it. I'm like, yeah, I know. He found a couple things. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I found it. Another thing too, Craig, he didn't tell you he was using a Barber dime, which you and I both know doesn't have as much silver content. It's like it was real thin. It was a real old one and stuff. It's all worn down. It's not really a good, I guess, target to be testing with. I mean, throw a regular, Eisenhower out there or whatever, throw it out there on the ground, just a regular old dime and do it. That was some of his problem. Or Roosevelt, sorry. I don't know what I was thinking, Eisenhower. Losing my mind at any rate. But, yeah, we got him fixed up and everything. And I get those calls quite often, just basic people, like, go on vacation. They don't, in a new place, new town, whatever, and they're dealing with iron mineralization that they haven't had to deal with before. And it's just a subtle change in your settings, and you can level it out. So to me, you always want a smooth running detector. You don't want to be real chatty, nasty, or a lot of threshold. I even on my whites machines, I'd turn that threshold only up as far, just could barely hear the threshold. That's the way I always hunted that machine, because I didn't want that constant harsh buzz in my ear, and I felt like, less is more. I'm going to hear more imperfections. If there's something strong enough to make that thing go off, I'm going to hear it, versus hearing a constant hum in my ear all the time. And you don't necessarily have to do that. There's a chance you could lose some depth, but, you kind of weigh the odds. If you have a real busy site, maybe some way to, a lot of cancel and stuff like that, or small pieces of like copper. We've run into copper and brass where it flakes apart, Craig, and you start getting signals on it.
In my yard, with all the nails, I found that I can pull stuff out by dropping the threshold down to 2 and 3 even.
Right.
I even went to 0 and was picking up stuff. I think I got a nickel at 9 inches with the.
Hell yeah.
With the gain at 1 and the threshold at 0.
Right.
So, I've gone over my yard so many times in different spots, and I've been trying all kinds of different settings. And now I'm finding that instead of trying to get the most out of the machine, I'm quieting it down and making it real, steady and not, So now I don't even hear the iron, the little clips all the time anymore.
Right.
And I'm just getting like, all of a sudden the other day, go in the front yard, which I've hammered with the bliss tools and the Deus, and
right.
I think I even had the Mike's Nautilus out there a few times, but I found all this stuff in the last couple of weeks, bullets, flat button, all kinds of stuff. It's round ball. It's just amazing how many. I got a silver nickel and a French coin.
You've been tearing it up.
Little jewelry bling thing, and I was like,
yep.
God, But another thing I've been doing is just every time I open the hole, I stick the pinpointer down in there, and after I get the object out, I just keep sticking the pinpointer in there and cleaning out all the nails. And
exactly.
A couple times I've actually found something cool, that was deep in the hole and was probably masked by the iron, to some extent. But
well, sometimes when you do that, Craig, when you backed it down the way you did, essentially what you did is you just allowed the machine to do a better job. You don't have all the rogue beeps and the little chunks of iron and everything coming through.
All of a sudden, the yard doesn't sound as busy, So I think that's it. Also, you're not going to get depth in a highly nailed environment. The best machines just aren't. You just can't do it. I mean, I don't know.
Most of the
hard
machines
to do it that way.
Well, most of the machines I see, even the newer ones, they're lucky to get like 5-6 inches down into that stuff. It's a tough environment for any metal detector to get into it. The only blessing we have is that we can push the envelope with ours a little bit more in different ways because we have so much adjustment room. We can really, I could take it to the chatty side like I did at your house, Craig, up in Alexandria, where you could just hear a beep, 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 but it wasn't anything solid, anything that was good. It was doing its job and discriminating it out. When I went over something non-ferrous, then it came above everything else. All the other sounds were muted for the most part when I went over a non-ferrous item. And I was running it.
Mm-hmm.
I was not running. I was running a lot of discrimination. I mean, I was running a ton of discrimination on it, but I was still able to dig, bullets and everything else in your yard amongst all that junk that was there. Craig's old yard used to be like a minefield. That thing was horrible. But Craig found tons of stuff there for 15 years, 20 years, or whatever. Right in that yard, it's there. Just like his yard now, it's still there. You just got to get, underneath it, in between it, and just know your detector real good. And that just comes with experience. I mean, Craig could go out there with the Deus and do the same thing, I'm sure. I mean, he's got enough adjustment room on it. Maybe he wouldn't be doing quite as good, but you'd still be fine and stuff, Craig, because you have an ear for it. You know what that machine does. And Mike seems like he's getting better and better with that thing every day.
The one thing I've found with the Deus, though, with the tone ID, sometimes you can pick out the tone in one direction that you can't with the Bliss tool.
Right.
But that's about the only thing I've seen. I can hear like a high tone and I'll think I can get a repeatable signal, but it's only going in one direction.
Right.
It's a very tight signal in iron.
And you see us too. Craig and I both do this. If you guys seen our videos and stuff, sometimes when we're doing a live hunt, you'll see us. Well, we haven't done it in a while, but coming up on a target, and all of a sudden you think on the video, that didn't sound good. Why is he still going over that? And all of a sudden you'll see you start moving around the target, or moving around in an X pattern or whatever, and we're listening for that nuance. The Blisstel's it's going to tell you something non-ferrous or iron. We know for sure, but then you're trying to figure out, okay, am I trying to dig a pull tab here, or am I trying to literally dig a Civil War coat button or something like that? And there's subtleties to this machine that once you have your ear tuned to it, so to speak, it allows you to just unmask so much more than a lot of the detectors out there. Not saying it's just what it does. I'm not building it up or anything, because I did the same thing with the the White's machines and stuff too. I found the corks or the little nuances, I guess you could call them. I don't know how to explain it other than that, Craig. You just know when you're going over a good target in that environment. There's something that says dig me, and you just start digging, and you might dig 5 pieces of trash to an Indian head penny on your 6th one. I mean, I'll do that all day long. I'll dig 5 targets to one good one every day, because sometimes you go out there and you don't find anything good, but it may be all masked up, or it just never was there to find anyways. I was telling that to Tim too. I mean, he says, well, I haven't really found any coins in my yard. I said, well, it doesn't mean that they're not there. It's just you got to go at it from a different standpoint. I said, you'd have to do this, I told him even if you'd bought another detector, you would have to do this same thing, because if it's that infested or that busy, you're talking about zeroing in on like 2-inch area sometimes. I mean, I've done it. You've done it, Craig, and a lot of the other guys too. You get right in between, and you're getting a really sweet signal in one direction in this one little spot, but then you turn and you lose it altogether. And
yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason to that. I mean, I've dug.
Yeah, I get signals. I got them. I've gotten in probably the last 4 months. I've realized, I've pretty much picked out all the easy targets out of the yard.
Right.
And now I'm getting targets that only come back in one direction. In the other way, sometimes they'll I'll get a rejection, or I'll get or I won't get anything at all coming in the second direction. Usually that's iron, but when you listen to the repeatability of the other direction, and it doesn't vary at all, it doesn't spit or anything, then it's probably something masked.
Right.
coming through.
Yep, definitely.
The other thing is, I take a chance sometimes and drop the the depth discriminator, and you'll dig a little more iron, but it sometimes a good signal will bleed through the iron.
I haven't had much
that happen.
Yeah, I haven't had much of a problem with that. Lowering that discrimination depth has helped me immensely to the point where, unless you're dealing with square nails or something like that, you got to be careful. But there is a definite, it'll let go on targets, a lot, iron targets. It'll let go on, at least that's what I think. It lets go of them, and you could tell, okay, that's not the best target in the world. I'm going to pass on that one. And you go on to the next one, and you got one that doesn't let go, that stays locked on, at least in that one direction. You know it's something good. It's almost like the Deus you do with the full tone. You get that squeaker in there, and it just continually, every time you go over it, it's wanting to throw a good high tone out. You know that, okay, if it's only doing it that one direction, there could be something down there. Usually there is, even if it may be, a piece of copper or whatever. It's not iron. That's the main thing you want to get rid of, is you don't want to dig a bunch of nails and stuff. So if I can get that machine set up where, or the Bliss tool or anything else where I can just be above nail, then I'm happy. I don't care about digging axe heads or leaf springs or anything else. I want to get them out of the way anyways. Because I found plenty of alternators for cars and all. Just like you guys. I'm sure you guys have dug some hellacious stuff over the years. Out in the middle of where it shouldn't have been at it to begin with. But I did see on here Matt Howes saying he's going to, and he's adding the Maverick Air to his camera roll for his videos. I guess he's having one come out tomorrow. He's going to got a new video up tomorrow at 7 p.m. So guys, check it out, Matt Howell. I'm sure it's
that was my first choice, and I started talking to people, and some of the guys that do. Ask this guy if he does the drone channel.
I don't know. Matt, do you do the drone channel? That's what Craig was asking. But these guys were telling me that, unless you're going to be cinematic and it takes a lot of data, with the 4K, that right,
the Spark was more the way to go.
Yeah.
Especially. They were saying also it's about half the price of the Mavic Air, if you get the Fly More package.
Yeah, they have a better camera system on the Maverick, I think, or the Mavic, I'm sorry. Mavic, sorry.
Yeah, it's top of the line.
It's good. Good drone.
It practically blows away those Phantoms now.
Right.
And it's fast too. I think it goes 40-some miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
Around 30, 33 miles an hour, I think.
Yeah, well, like I told you, Craig, when I got the Spark, the kind of videos we do, we don't need a lot of the speed or the height or the distance. We just need something that's going to, I just wanted something that was going to film good. Or there'd be, the quality is going to be more, rise above, 50 feet above the ground, look around type thing, and show the site, maybe try to use it in other ways too. I'm just trying to incorporate it. That's what I want to do, is incorporate it in my videos too. A lot of the people shooting sceneries and stuff, they need something that can really get out there up high, and get some really cool shots. So hang on a second, guys. I am looking at my wife. I don't know what's up with their blankets. They drug them all out of their dog kennel and put them all over the floor. Our Loki has decided he's going to sleep everywhere in the house. He's dragging all his we have a bunch of blankets in his, we call it his bed. That's where he sleeps. It's like a kennel, but the door's always open. He's drug his blankets all over the house, so he's picking places to sleep at today. I guess. I don't know what he's doing. Loki for Loco, I think. But now he's staring at me because he knows I'm talking about him. At any rate. But Craig, probably got to try to wrap this thing up a little bit tonight. Like I said, I was right in the middle of dinner, getting it ready and everything. Now she's home, so I probably should make the wife happy, right? I think so.
Yeah.
A happy wife, happy life.
Maybe I should call next week and make sure it's Saturday.
Oh my God, yeah, I can't keep up with the date. I don't even know. I can't even remember the date today. I don't know. Maybe it seems like the last 3 or 4 months I just have been running so doggone much or whatever, so consumed with stuff that I just lose track of the days. It sounds silly, but that's what I've been doing. I drove truck for 18 and a half years. I knew what every day of the week was because I had to do a logbook. You know what I mean? Ever since then, I don't pay attention to it. I have my secretary wife that tells me when I need to go do something, and that's what I go and do it. So
Yeah.
she wasn't here for this. Craig had to call me 5 minutes before the show started today, so I totally forgot. I just was out there cooking steak on the grill. She's shaking her head. Cannot believe you forgot. I didn't forget. I thought today was Friday for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, guys, we'll wrap it up for the night, I think, and make a really fresh start on Thursday. I won't forget, I promise.
We'll hold you to it.
Yeah, I don't know, Craig. I did twice in 3 years. I know it's becoming a habit. Twice in 3 years.
Yep.
Shoot. But guys, thanks for listening and everything, and all the guys on chat there, Chat and Matt and Brandon and Bill, and let me see here. Who else do I see? And Jaron's on there. Just to thank you guys for being on chat here tonight. I saw a few more in here, and I don't mean to forget you. I just can't remember from 1 minute to the next because the chat is like over 138 posts already, so can't really track back that. All Bob D's on. Can't forget about Bob. So thanks, guys, for being on chat there. And there's always like a whole separate conversation going on there, too. So that's kind of neat. I'm trying to keep up with that, and you'll hear us laughing every once in a while. It's not necessarily what Craig's saying. I'm laughing at what they're putting on the posts, so on the chat page. But you could listen, check us out on Thursdays and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to check out Spreaker. They have tons of shows on there, guys. I mean, a lot of good information on there. Fun stuff, science stuff, everything. Even if you're into gardening, they got a gardening channel or two. So, enjoy and go to their archives, download them, and be sure to like and share if you like their show or whatever. Like it, and follow it. So until the next time, I guess Thursday night at 8 p.m. we'll be on again. And thank you for listening. If you can, get out there, keep digging, and God bless.